Is the old way of RVing dead, with corporate buyouts, skyrocketing campground fees, and $5 a gallon fuel? A lot of people are being forced off the road. But we refuse to quit. We just have to adjust the rules to the game. Hey y'all, welcome back to Ramblin' Reflections. In our last video, we broke down what I like to call the resort reality. We talked about how massive corporate conglomerates are buying up independent mom and pop campgrounds, throwing up a fancy sign and doubling the nightly rates. It's changing the landscape for all of us. Honestly, it's pricing a lot of good people right out of the lifestyle. So today, we're gonna shift gears a little bit. We aren't here just to complain about the problem. Today, we're moving from the problem to the solution. We're opening up our own blueprint to show you exactly how we're fighting back against these rising costs. Because today's world of RVing, it isn't just about being cheap or saving a buck here and there. It's a complete shift in psychology. It's about making this lifestyle sustainable for the long haul. We've had to systematically rethink about how we plan our trips, how far we haul, and even how we pay for fuel. It requires proactive management. You can't just wing it anymore. If you wing it across the country today, your bank account is going to take a massive beating. You can't just pull into a park, hand over your credit card, and hope for the best anymore. You need a solid strategy. That means knowing how to stack discounts, utilize public lands, and leverage specialized memberships to get the maximum value for your minimum cost. It's all about leverage. If you want to keep living this lifestyle without draining your retirement, you have to start thinking strategically. Today, we're giving you an inside look at our toolkit to do just that. For our first tool, let's head over to Blairsville's Blue Ridge Ranger Station. I'm excited to share this one with you. We're going to pick up my America the Beautiful Senior Pass. Our very newest tool in our arsenal now is this little piece of plastic right here, the America the Beautiful Senior Pass. I officially hit the magic number and turned 62 back in March, and let me tell you, getting this pass was my absolute top priority.
We were traveling back to Georgia right after Steve's birthday, and as soon as we hit the mountains, Steve had the truck pointed straight at the Blue Ridge Ranger District office in Blairsville, Georgia. How hard was it to get the pass?
It was really easy. I walked right up to the counter, handed the park ranger my driver's license to prove my age and U.S. residency, and I paid a one-time $80 fee for my lifetime senior pass and walked out 2 minutes later. But while I was there, the ranger did give me a couple specific tips that I didn't actually know, and y'all need to know them too.
So what was the first one?
First, when you're parked at a federal recreation site, the pass can't just be sitting in your glove box or wallet. It has to be physically hanging from your rearview mirror, completely readable from the outside. If the rangers can't see it, they'll write you a ticket.
And the second tip could be painful.
Yeah, don't lose it. If you drop it in a lake, leave it at a campsite, there is no such thing as a free replacement. They don't look you up in a computer. If it's gone, you have to buy a brand new one for another $80. So don't lose it, keep track of it.
But even with the $80 price tag, this pass pays for itself almost instantly if you know where to use it. Like the gorgeous spot we found at Wild Ridge on Lake Lanier, the normal rate for the premium absolute waterfront site right on the beach was about $36 a night. But because of Steve's Senior Pass, we now get a 50% discount. So we should only pay about $18 a night to look out our windows at a lakefront view.
But let's be honest, Rosie. This is a trade-off here because this lifestyle is about managing resources. And most Corps of Engineer parks, they don't have full hookups. They give you 30 or 50 amp power and great water pressure, but a lot of times you don't have sewer connections at your site. You have to manage your onboard waste tanks.
Right, so you can't take a 20-minute shower. But to make it work, we use the campground bathhouse for our morning showers to conserve the gray tanks. We also, to save on the black tank, we utilize the public facilities during the day. We even started researching the portable tote tanks, those honey wagons I think they're called, just in case we want to extend our stays past a week. It requires a little bit more manual labor, absolutely, but a little extra work in exchange for saving hundreds of dollars on a waterfront site. We'll gladly take that every single day of the week.
Now let's pivot to a strategy shift. Rosie came up with this. This is what we call our short haul strategy. Rose has implemented a strict travel rule. It's the 222 rule's cousin. It's a 4-hour or a 200 to 250 mile maximum limit per day.
It's not that strict. I'm really going to have to start reading your stuff before you say it. Here's why we find this critical for working RVers. We both still work full time, so we only travel on the weekends. So our process starts the night before we leave. We start our exterior tear down the night before. We pack up the lawn chairs, roll up the rug, stow the outdoor kitchen or the Blackstone, and anything else we might have out that's not necessary.
And that way on Friday morning, all I have to do is dump the tanks, backwash the tanks, and loosen up the stabilizer bars so I can lift the jacks. I roll up the hoses and the power cord and I'm ready to hitch up. I handle the outside stuff and Rose handles the inside stuff. She puts everything away and pulls in the slides. I'd be lost without her, guys. She has that procedure down to a science. We don't usually set an alarm on travel days. We just wake up naturally and get moving. And it almost never fails. We're ready to pull out by 10 o'clock a.m.
By keeping our travel distance capped at about 250 miles, we're consistently pulling into our next campground around 3:30, 4 o'clock. We aren't exhausted and our nerves aren't fried from fighting traffic all day.
And the short tow allows us the most important tactical advantage of the day. The very first thing we do after we set up is to head to the nearby gas station that isn't a truck stop, so we can fill up and avoid what we call the convenience tax.
Unhooking is the secret to major fuel savings. When you're towing a big camper, you're physically trapped. You're forced to pull into those big high-volume interstate truck stops because those are the only places with the overhead clearance and turning radius to fit your rig.
And those truck stops, they know they have a monopoly on you. They deliberately jack up their diesel fuel prices anywhere from 40 cents to a full $1 per gallon compared to a standard neighborhood station down the street. They charge you a massive convenience fee just for having the space to turn around.
But because we arrive early enough to unhook, we don't have to use them. We usually can find a local station with about a 5-mile radius. That might be a local grocery store or a Walmart with a Murphy station, which we use a lot. I mean, think about the math on this. Our truck has about a 32-gallon fuel tank. If we save 50 cents a gallon by driving the unhooked truck to a neighborhood station instead of the highway stop, that's a clean $16, $20 saved in a single fill up. If you travel just 4 or 5 times a month, that's $80 to $100 back in your pocket.
Another one of our tools for our strategy is what I call the app stack. Show them how that Murphy's app works, Rosie.
Inside the Murphy app, they have a feature called Rev Up. Once every 7 days, no matter where you are, you just open the app and tap this button. The app plays a little game and it awards you anywhere from 5 to 25 points just for clicking it. Once you accumulate 100 points, you can then redeem them for 10 cents off per gallon.
And here's the big news that just happened. It used to be that the 10-cent discount was strictly capped at a maximum of 20 gallons, but Murphy just officially updated their system policy and bumped that limit up to 25 gallons. Hey, for an RV and truck owner, that extra 5 gallons under the discount, that's a pretty good win. But that's just one app. We collect these loyalty programs wherever we go and when we're going to be in an area for a little while. We also have our customer loyalty apps for our local grocery stores, like our Ingalls card for when we're in the Blue Ridge, Georgia. We also have our Kroger card to fall back on when we can't find an Ingalls or Murphy's. And we even got a Cumberland Farms loyalty card when we spent some time up north. By the time we roll up to the pump, we just insert one of those grocery cards, enter our loyalty number, and that drops the price. You're already saving from what the truck stops charge, but then your loyalty points help to drop the price another 10 cents.
Now, of course, there are times when the short haul strategy is impossible, especially when you're crossing those bigger places, Texas, Kansas. There's not a lot in between your stops. You have to stay hooked up and hit the truck lanes.
Exactly. And for those mandatory truck stop days, we finally stopped resisting and joined the Open Roads program, which a lot of old timers might know as the TSD fuel program. Okay, I want to address something honestly here because I know a lot of you watching feel the exact same way we did. We were incredibly leery about joining Open Roads for a long time. Why, some of you might be asking? Well, because the program requires you to link your app directly to your personal bank account, so they can automatically draw the funds for the fuel you pump. Giving an app direct access to our main bank account felt a little bit risky, so we held off a long time.
It did. So as the head researcher in the family, I found a smart, completely safe workaround. We dedicated a completely separate standalone checking account for our fuel account.
We don't keep our life savings in there. We don't even keep our bill money in there.
Exactly. Before a big travel day, I calculate roughly how much diesel we'll need, and I electronically transfer that amount of cash into the isolated account. We have close friends who've been using Open Roads since 2019 without a single security issue, and the commercial lane discounts be massive, sometimes saving as much as 40 to 80 cents a gallon at major stations like Love's and Raceway or TA and a few other brands too. It's all about options and having as many options as we can at the moment.
So how hard was it to open the Open Roads app?
It was not difficult, actually. You fill out an application online, you give them a lot of information about you. They do a background check on you, so you do have to provide information that makes me nervous. You're providing your social and your address and phone numbers and all that jazz, your birth dates. And then once you submit that, you'll get, I think it was an email back saying that it was ready and that you have to authenticate it. So you get your information and then you authenticate with them I don't remember exactly what that was like. I was doing it real quick, but it was same day. And then I had to send them, they sent me a number that I could use to finish up on the application, or on the app, yeah.
Did they mail anything or to authenticate, or was that just once you got the card?
That was just the card. So everything else is online and a quick phone call. Then you get your card. I think it took like a week to get our card in the mail.
Look, guys, at the end of the day, owning an RV, it used to be purely about vacation mode. You just hitched up, threw caution to the wind, and spent whatever it took, and dealt with the financial hangover when you got home. But in today's modern economy, that approach will break you. RVing now is just being highly efficient and managing your personal resources.
It definitely takes more work on my side during the pre-trip planning phase. I have to spend extra time analyzing the maps and checking the fuel laps and calculating the distances. But I'll tell you this, the more relaxed version of Steve that I get to sit next to the campsite that night versus the long haul tired Steve, it's worth it.
Is it really?
It is.
She's absolutely right. It has completely changed my stress levels on the road, and that's made our travel days a whole lot more pleasurable. Now, if I could just get the springs on the truck relaxed a little bit, it would be a lot more comfortable for Rose too. Hey, does anyone know anything about Thurin out there?
Now we want to hear from you guys out there. We know you guys are out there finding brilliant ways to beat the system. What's your best hack for fuel discounts and campground savings?
So drop a comment right down below and let us know. We read every single one of them, and honestly, we're all learning how to navigate this brand new economic reality together as a community. So let's help each other out.
If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with another RVer who needs to save a few bucks this season.
Well, until next time, stay safe out there. We'll see you next week.